everyone, and welcome to the Miles with Misty podcast. I am your host, Misty Hamilton, and today's podcast we are going to talk about traveling with your pet. As many of you don't know, I am in my van 24/7. I live in this thing. It gave me my inspiration for my name for my podcast, Miles with Misty, because I'm always traveling. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk to you guys a little bit about the things that I travel with when I go out and about with my dogs, whether that's to a dog show, just a dog event, just to go into town, whether we do a dog training session, whatever it may be. Some of the things that I like to take. The first thing that I like to travel with and that my dogs ride in is a kennel. Like you see right here behind me, there's 2 kennels right here. There's 4 more behind it that you're not seeing. My dogs ride in a kennel for the most important thing, which is safety. I can't tell you how many accidents I've seen where the dogs were not in kennels, have gone through the windshield. Now they're out, they're disoriented, they're lost. They may get aggressive to the people that are trying to help them because they don't know them. They're, like I said, disoriented. So for me, my dog riding in a kennel is the most important thing because I know they're safe. Now, these kennels that I use and that I choose to transport whether it's my personal dog or my client dogs in, is called Rough-Land Kennels. They've been impacted certified. They have been in car accidents. I see tons of information and videos and pictures off their website, off their social medias about people that have been in accidents and how that kennel saved their dog's life. So for me, it's very important that my dogs are safe. 2, the reason I also put them in a kennel is because I have seen, and yes, I have done it before when I had Yorkies, I will admit that, but now I have big dogs, I don't do that anymore. But I have seen people with their dogs riding on their lap, hanging out the window. When you're trying to drive, like that dog is right here, it's in your space. That is not good. That's just as equivalent to me as putting a toddler on your lap. So for me, I choose to put my dogs in a kennel for safety reasons and for me to also be safe while I'm driving. The second thing that I travel with a lot is a collapsible bowl and a gallon of water, at least 1 gallon of water, depending on how many dogs we take. Sometimes I'll take 2 gallons of water. It depends on the activity. If I'm going out to the desert and I know I'm going to run my dogs, I do that in the winter. I do not do it in the summer. I will pack at least 2 to 3 gallons of water with me and multiple collapsible bowls. On the top of my Rough-Land kennels, which is another thing that I like about them, I could put a holding tray system that I can put all this stuff in. So now when we're going out, I like to make sure I have the collapsible bowls, I have the water, I have their e-collars that they use or any type of training collar that I'm going to use at that point in time, their leashes, their prong collars or their flat collars or whatever it is I have on the dog that day, so that I make sure I'm well equipped with all that. Now, if we're going out with a service dog or anything like that, I'll make sure that I have his training vest with him with his proper patches on them, whether he's a service dog in training or he's a service dog already qualified, whatever it is, I make sure that I have all that stuff on hand. A few more other things that I choose to take is treats. Because I always have a treat pouch on me. I love to make sure that my dogs have some sort of reward system after being in a kennel for a long time. Another thing that I like to do, especially on long trips when we're going to dog shows, is that I take some sort of a chew bone, bully sticks. I also will take like a Kong. I'll fill it with stuff. I'll freeze it. Just things that my dogs can travel with in that perspective. The other things, if we're going to like a dog show, for example, is I will make sure that I am taking a portable kennel, which like to call them X-pens. So I like to make sure that I have some way to give my dog a little bit more space to stretch his legs in between each show at that point, for that sake, that they have somewhere to just be able to stretch their legs out, lay down, whatever, instead of just being in a crate. The other things I would like to take are long lines. So I take my 15-foot long line so that if we are at a truck stop or we're out traveling across country, I can make sure that I have a long enough distance that my dog can still stretch his legs. He can still get out because I'm not going to pull out the X-pen, and just be able to go potty that way. So a few more other things I like to travel with is dog toys, things like that. I just really want to make sure that my dog has everything that he is going to need to keep him comfortable. So now that we've got the dog stuff taken care of, now we're going to go on to the cleaning side of things. So I like to make sure that I actually carry a backpack. It's actually in here right now that has cleaning supplies in it. So I will have a roll of paper towels. I will have a plethora of poop bags and rolls of poop bags. There's probably 10 rolls of poop bags in this backpack. Just to make sure that I have plenty of things to make sure to clean up after my dog, no matter what it is that I need to clean up. I also will have some sort of spray. So if we're in a hotel, the dog has an accident on the carpet, I have a spray that I can clean it up, make sure that the hotel room is left in better condition than what it was when I arrived. So I like to make sure that those things are inside my backpack at all times, along with my water bowls, things like that. The other things that I like to also take with me are extra blankets. So I do spend quite a bit of time in hotels. If I'm not in this van camping out or my RV camping out, we do stay in hotels a lot. So I like to make sure I take extra blankets and dog blankets. I also will use these dog blankets to put in my dog's kennel, so it's a little bit more squishy for the dog to lay in. But for the most part, my dogs that do ride with me, I have crate mats. I will have to link their link in the bio, but that will also give my dog some sort of cushion instead of laying on hard plastic. So, but with my blankets that I have, I throw the blankets out over the bed themselves, because I know my dogs, I know they're going to want to lay on the bed, and in hotel rooms I allow it because they don't get to get on furniture at my house. So the bed is the one, or the hotel's the one place they can do pretty much have fun. You're on vacation too. So we do that as well. The other things that I like to travel with, just to be on a precautionary end, is all my vet records that I have of my dog, or some way to get a hold of my vet records. My vet typically emails me vet records. So if in case of an emergency I have to stop somewhere and I can't take my dog with me, can put him in a daycare facility, I will have those vet records with me. So I like to make sure I have a copy of his rabies certificates, any type of other certificates that I think they may need. Most boarding places require rabies, parvo, distemper, lepto, and bordetella. So I'll make sure all those are on his record, and I'll have card copies of each one of those, so that if I do have to stay at a place, and I haven't had a hotel ask, but I've had friends that say, yeah, the hotel asked for my dog's shots, and I was like, that's weird. But I always like to make sure that I carry those with me, just as a precautionary at the same time. So the other things that you can take if you want, it's totally up to you. I mean, realistically, anything that you're going to pack for your dog is completely up to you. It's not, just these are the rules, you have to pack all this stuff. This is completely up to you, and it's geared to what your lifestyle is. Like, for example, when we travel in the RV, holy smokes, I fill an entire drawer with dog everything, treats, toys, bowls. I fill an entire drawer full of stuff, and then underneath my master bed, I fill an entire drawer of something else with all the blankets and everything else. Like, yeah, my dogs are pretty spoiled and bougie. But sometimes when we travel for shows, I should say all the time when we travel for shows, I will take cooling jackets. That is an option. You can get yourself a cooling jacket. A dear friend of mine made my cooling jackets, and so you just get wet. You can wrap around your dog if it's really hot. Something else to think about. Other things you can also pack would be dog booties, stuff to go around their feet in case the cement's hot. I also like to take with me on occasion, I don't personally have dogs that need this, but I know plenty of people that do, some sort of calming agent. If you are going on a very long road trip like I did from Utah all the way to Orlando, Florida, I did southern Utah actually to Orlando, Florida, and I had one dog with me that about midway, she's like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore, because it's about 1,200 miles one way from here to Orlando. And we drove the entire way. It was me and 6 other dogs that went. I had 3 puppies and 3 adults. And along the way, I stopped and delivered some puppies along the way. But we are heading to the Royal Canin National Championship in December, which we are going to do again this year. Looking very forward to it. Hopefully the economy and everything holds up that we can do that. But this time I'm flying. I'm not driving again. But when I drove across, by the time my dog got about midpoint, I would probably say about Mississippi, when we stopped at my sister's house, which is a little bit more than midpoint, but she was done. She's like, I don't want to get back in the van. I don't care. I'm sick of doing this. I'm sick of being in the kennel. So I had to get her some calming agents. So you can either use CBD oil. I use Rescue Remedy. A dear friend of mine also makes CBD oil in Colorado. I can definitely link those in the bio as well, so that those are some things that can help. They work tremendously just to take the edge off for your dog. We actually had a case come through here that the dog was terrible riding the car, and that's all she wanted, was for that dog to be better riding the car. So we did a solid week of just road trips, just around the neighborhood, into town, out of town, just for that dog. So if your dog is not good at riding in the car and you want your dog to ride in the car, practice makes perfect. So get your dog out, drive around, even if it's to the mailbox and back, to the end of the driveway and back. Those are things that also help, especially if you're gearing up for a very long road trip. Now, this dog has been on, her name is Delta. She has been on many, 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 many long road trips. We go to Texas frequently. So she's been on many road trips, but most of the time they were in the RV, where she could stretch out on, the floor or the couch, whatever it is that she needs to stretch out in. Again, one time I let my dogs ride loose in the RV. But being cooped up in this van it took us, because we stopped at my sister's house, it took us about 3 days to get to Orlando. But typically about 2 days to get there. It took us about 2 days to get back. So anyways, by the end of that, she was like, I'm done. I need something to help me calm down. So that really, really helped her. So those are some options. If your dog really just doesn't like to ride in the car, take him out. Take him on small little road trips. Everything kind of helps. So that's about all the I pack in my van. I mean, there's probably tons more that I pack all the time. But for the essentials, a leash, collar, whatever training tool you're using, a kennel for me is a must, water bowl, and if your dog is anxious or nervous in the car, CBD oil. If they get sick in the car, I use Dramamine for the motion sickness. If your dog has motion sickness, those types of things do help. So those are pretty much my go-tos, other than I'll throw in my cooling jacket, maybe the foot thing, which my dogs don't like foot booties. They absolutely hate it, so I run. I literally park as close to wherever I am, and I book it inside. So, but if you guys have any questions or want some more advice on traveling with your pet, what kennel systems that we use, please feel free to reach out, leave a comment below, and we will be more than happy to help you out. And I hope you enjoy this podcast sorry it was short, with Miles with Misty, and we'll see you again on the next podcast. Have a great day.